Welcome back to the R3 approach. Components 1 and 2 of the approach helped us to begin with the end in mind, directing our thoughts and actions towards the right things in the right way and at the right time. Component 1, the 5 universal laws, pointed at those things about the game that are immutable and unchanging that we all need to know about and be aware of. And then component number 2, the 4 perspectives, presented the 4 different directions from which we will continue to direct our thoughts and actions. Component number 3 of the R3 approach is a blueprint of the 16 characteristic traits that we as players all possess. There are 3 versions of the puzzle presented, each version being a little more detailed than the previous. So with this in mind, let's have a look at component number 3 of the R3 approach, the blending puzzle. Okay, let's do some good work and have a look at component number 3 of the R3 approach, the blending puzzle. One of the tenets of the R3 approach is that when we play this game, we're very much our own coach. Well, as our own coach, we're really an architect of our own game. And if we're a good architect, then it's good to have a blueprint of our game. And this is precisely what the blending puzzle does for us. Whether we know it or not, whether we realize it or not, there are 16 characteristic traits that we all possess, whether we realize it or not. We all possess these 16 characteristic traits. When the blending puzzle, what we do is we present these 16 characteristic traits in the form of a puzzle. As you'll see here, the 4 corner pieces of the puzzle represent the 4 perspectives of playing the game of golf. Component number 2 of the R3 approach, the factual, mechanical, physical, and tactical perspectives. These 4 perspectives set up the 4 directions from which we're going to need to direct our thought and attention in terms of genuinely improving at the game. When we start having a look at the puzzle, we'll see that each of the corner pieces has 3 neighboring pieces. Well, these 3 neighboring pieces have to do with that perspective. So as we go about the process of directing our thought and attention and action toward things that are going to be necessary in order for us to get that genuine improvement, these 3 neighboring pieces are very much going to describe each of the perspectives. As we also, as we're involved with this game, we're going to find that we'll climb through different experience levels, or different levels of players, we refer to it as in the R3 approach. The first level, which is version 1.0 of the puzzle, is the social recreational player. Social recreational player is relatively new to the game and does possess these 16 characteristic traits, but at this level, the 16 characteristic traits are just being introduced, in other words. And again, have a look at each one of the pieces neighboring each perspective, and it will begin to describe what that perspective has to do with, what it's all about. And then version 2.0 of the puzzle, the recreational competitive level player. This level player has had more experience with the game. Each piece of the puzzle is becoming a little more defined and a little more developed. During the R3 approach, we begin to have a good look at each one of these puzzle pieces and also begin to define in a little more detail what each one of these pieces has to do with. Also in the R3 approach, we continuously refer to the fact that as we're involved with this awesome and peculiar game, there's two axes of the puzzle, if you will, that we will be directing our thought and attention from. We refer to it as the what axis and the how axis. As far as the what axis goes, this is what we work on. In other words, the physical and mechanical, or the mechanical and physical processes that we have going on during the swing are going to have to do with our golf club, the second perspective, our golf club, the mechanical perspective, things that have to go on in terms of using that tool in a manner close to the way in which it was designed to be used. And then the physical perspective down there, as we slide down the what axis, we find ourselves in perspective number 3, the physical perspective. And this perspective, again, is going to have to do with our body and how our body is going to support the mechanical movements of the club that we're looking to develop. And then the how axis is actually going to begin to direct our thoughts and actions towards how it is that we take everything that we've been working on while on the what axis and put it into play when we actually head to the golf course. And this is what the third version of the puzzle, the completed version of the puzzle, if you will, becomes what we call the tournament level player. And as you see, each one of the pieces in the puzzle here has definitely taken on a more fully developed form. Each of the pieces of the puzzle has a little more detail associated with it in terms of what that particular piece has to tell us and has to indicate to us in terms of how it is that we're going to want to be directing our thought and action. What this ends up being is really a holistic approach toward understanding exactly everything actually involved with how it is that we'll be directing our thought and action as we go about the different processes involved with developing our golf games. Again, the blending puzzle is pretty neat, and it provides for us a complete picture, a holistic picture of everything involved, and also the fact that when we do go play, one of the biggest challenges, as you know, with this game is being able to take what we've got and make it work. The first law of the R3 approach, component number 1. Well, in order to do this, we have to really recognize the fact that we're going to have to cross the bridge, as we say in the R3 approach. We're going to have to cross the bridge over from the what axis, in terms of what it is that we're working on, in terms of improving our golf games. We're going to have to cross that bridge over to the how axis and get busy with the processes involved with actually taking what we've got and making it work. And again, as we state in the R3 approach, we talk about the fact that when we do begin the whole process, beginning with the end in mind, our primary objective is to get to what we refer to as good fluid motion in our golf swing. In other words, everything that we have going on from the mechanical perspective and the physical perspective and then the tactical perspective, all these processes are happening in good fluid motion. That is, that we're performing all of these functions in a seamless manner without getting caught up at all with overthinking any one of them. In other words, everything has to be blended together in such a manner that we are ultimately playing in good fluid motion. And that again is what it means to be playing in the zone. When we have zone experiences, that's precisely what we're experiencing. We're having all of these processes take place in a good fluid motion in a seamless manner. So again, the component number 3 here, the R3 approach, the blending puzzle, is pretty interesting in that, again, it provides for us a blueprint or a complete picture so that we can, in fact, begin with the end in mind. And then also, again, in the R3 approach, each piece needs to be kind of explored in terms of developing that piece to a level in which it's going to be working in a good fluid motion manner. Okay, have fun. Let's have some fun continuing to provoke some thought and create some enthusiasm and help to direct some effort as far as how we go about improving our golf games here in this awesome and peculiar game of golf. Okay, let's keep having fun with the R3 approach, and again, keep doing good work.